Well, I talk a lot about getting the live stream sounding better on the podcast and on the YouTube channel. I know you talk a lot about it too on yours, but this time I actually want to talk about how to get it looking better. So I know when it comes to the visual, like it's lighting, that's everything. So you want to give us some of your best lighting tips?
Yeah. So I'll even just like the lighting I'm using right now. So the best lighting tips, especially when you're in a video environment, is like number one, like make sure you have just sufficient light in the first place. You can't you don't want your camera having to make up light, within its sensor. That's known as ISO or gain. That's what's going to make it really grainy and nasty. So we want to provide sufficient lighting for your video cameras, your broadcast cameras. So you may need to do kind of an assessment of aside from thinking about our live stream, like how does our lighting design look like in the room as is? Like I think some churches will be surprised to find it's like not very good. Like when you think about, I can't really clearly see subjects on stage in person, well, that's probably going to look the same way through your cameras as well. Or that might be usually cameras, I feel like, emphasize it. Like if it's good lighting, it'll emphasize good lighting, and if it's bad lighting, cameras will be like, this is very bad lighting. They'll let you know. But make sure you have a good key light, or front light is kind of another name for it. So right now I have like a key light in front of me. It's just a LED lamp. It's a Falconized one. It has a really nice soft light, and a lot of these same principles, even though the fixtures I'm using right now are kind of different on my video right now. The same principles apply though, even on a stage. Like it's really not much different. So I have a key light that's 45 degrees kind of up and kind of almost 45 degrees from the side of me. Ideally, I'd have like a fill light on the other side just to not look, so dramatic, and maybe I could be a little bit more evenly lit. Sometimes you want more of that depth though, and kind of have like shadows on one side of the face, and that kind of looks cool. And then it's also great to have some sort of backlighting that can kind of help separate your subject from the background. So right now, if you look behind me, I've got like this blue LED light that I like to add some color behind me. This is another important tip. Like if you have color LED lights in your church's sanctuary, like you shouldn't be front lighting your subjects with that. Like the light I'm using for my front light right now is just a daylight, like 5600 Kelvin light. And I think that generally like daylight is probably the most flattering color out there. And then you can just tell your camera that the color temperature should be at 5600 Kelvin. And then it's going to render the skin tones to look, pretty decent. So that's something to keep in mind. Like if I have, I would not want to put this blue light in front of me unless if I wanted some weird dramatic effect or look like a Smurf or something like that. So lighting is super important. So my favorite fixtures specifically for front lighting are ellipsoidal spotlights. I think those work really well. I think it's like you can get some ETC Source 4 Junior lights that are like $300-400 a piece with like a $50 bulb. Make sure the lamp isn't too warm. Again, I like to lean more towards the higher temperature Kelvin lamp. I believe is the cooler looking one. It just kind of has that daylight look to it. But then for your backlights, a lot of people are getting these LED wash lights and LED strip lights and stuff like that. Just keep them behind the subjects. Don't put them on the front of your subjects. It looks horrible. Those are kind of my quick tips there for lights.
Good stuff, man. I also have a fixture that I got for our church, I think is just last year, that I love. And they're LEDs, but I think they're 3500 Kelvin, which I kind of prefer, like the warmer, like 3500 Kelvin for the in-person gathering. I just like the look of that better for a front light. Yeah. Everybody's different though, whatever works for you. But that's what they are. They're 3500 Kelvin and they're LEDs, so you don't have to deal with the heat and all that kind of stuff. But they're not ellipsoidals, they're Fresnels. Am I saying that right?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So, which is kind of like a blend between a Parcan and an ellipsoidal, because you can adjust the beam angle of it. So,
yeah, I like the precision of ellipsoidals, especially if you're trying to avoid it, washing onto like a background behind you or a screen or something like that. That would be the advantage of ellipsoidal. I think Fresnels look great for or Fresnel or Fresnel. I don't even know how to say it, but
maybe for now.
I think it's that. And those function well as like some nice like kind of back hair lights, you know, kind of going towards the congregation almost. That can look pretty sharp too. I've seen that before. So yeah, we've got a look at if you guys look up on YouTube, church lighting design, you'll see a pretty in-depth video I made at Red Rocks with Mark Ray there, and it really illustrates all this stuff well.
Awesome. I'll put links to all this in the show notes, which you'll find at collaborateworship.com.
Mixing sound seems complicated, but it doesn't have to be. Get access to our stress-free training to help you create great sound at church by visiting churchsoundmadesimple.com.